from New Zealand, and they're very powerful 300-pound people, and they step on you to heal you. Papa Joe, the great Maori healer, said to me, if you're not creating a legacy for the benefit of your grandchildren's grandchildren, then you're wasting other people's oxygen. So just being a good citizen and, you know, maybe an organic junkie, you know, might not be cutting the mustard anymore in 2010. With the Gulf spill and what's happening on the planet, period, it really requires all of us to step up to the plate. Creating means action, right? So I work with indigenous shaman in the rainforest as well. I work with very powerful shamanic medicine down there. And a lot of people get hung up on the whole spiritual realm, and I met with the angels, and I saw God, and this, that, and the other thing. The fact of the matter is the shamans will tell you if you don't ground it into the third dimension where we're here, it has no power. You have to ground it into the practical and apply it into your life. And so that's the same thing with all the information that's coming out on the planet, especially in the green, sustainable, organic community in the west side of Santa Monica and west side of LA. Right? We have to carry that out into the world the best possible way we can. Of course, the first template that you want to work with is the human being body. Healthy me equals a healthy planet. Gandhi said, become the change that you wish to see in the world. And so ultimately that happens with our bloodstream first. And so when we carry that energy, people are going to be organically attracted to us because they're, you know, you've got 67% of the American people are obese. You're looking at people that are out of balance right now. And they can look to their brother, mother, and sister. They may be obese or be a statistic. They may say, I might not want to be that way, and where can I find those answers? And they're going to look to people that are healthy. And they're going to know that they can get those type of answers from those people. And so my story started, my parents were hippies in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco. And so from the get-go, I started thinking different. Right? I had flower children parents, and I started hitchhiking when I was 12. The first gas crisis, actually the second gas crisis that hit us was in 1979, and gasoline went up to $1 a gallon. And my father told me to get out there and hitchhike and fend for myself because we were living in the country at the time, and so it was far away, and gas was now $1 a gallon. Can you imagine that? $1 a gallon! But that was a huge gas crisis for us back in 1979. And so by the time I was 14, my parents got busted by the FBI for dealing drugs. And so I've been on my own since a very young age. So it was necessary for me to go out and really formulate my own ideas and to take care of myself at the core level. I ended up getting involved in a lot of trouble myself. I was incarcerated as a youth. I started working, put myself through college. I started working as a model in Europe, and I started living the fast lane. And I had a lot of success. And the more success I gained in the fashion industry, the more self-destructive I got. The more issues from my childhood started to emerge, and things that needed to be processed emotionally, I pushed down with drugs and alcohol. People were telling me, you're wasting your potential. You have so much potential and things to offer people. And I heard that hundreds and hundreds of times. So if you have any friends using drugs and alcohol, trust me, you talking to them works. You know, I wasn't able to save my brother who did die of heroin, but it works. If you're out there talking to people and you're saying, look, you know, straighten up your life, it's never too late to transform your life. It's never too late to change. So I finally, it took me 4.5 years to sober up. Somebody turned me on to meditation, and I started sitting long courses in silence. Vipassana meditation. They're actually free courses. I highly recommend them to anyone who's looking for a transformation in their life. They're very comprehensive. There's no dogma, and it really helps you deal with yourself at the core level. So I practiced that religiously for, no pun intended, but I practiced it religiously for 6 years, and it completely transformed my life and really grounded me with my alcoholism. Because for 4.5 years I tried AA, and I tried this, and I tried working to balance out my own blood chemistry, but it was the meditation that really solidified me in my own sobriety. I started also working with the Maori and other indigenous shamans. Many hours of rolfing, shiatsu massage, acupuncture, rebirthing. I have been a guinea pig for natural healing. You name it, I've done it, and I've probably done it more than once. I spent in the last 10 years, I spent all my money on my health. I was introduced to the Amazon Herb Company. I have a booth out there. It's one of the companies, one of the businesses I have. I partnered with the largest importer of rainforest botanicals because what the company had embodied was the knowledge that I had garnered over the last 15 previous years. And when I started taking the herbs, I had another Kundalini awakening. The frequency and vibration that I had felt was the same type of awakening I had from my first meditation course in silence. From there, I started going to the Amazon and I started drinking ayahuasca with the shaman in the rainforest. And I had a vision when I was down there, not only the vision of my wife and the baby that I now have, that I did not have anything near before I went down. That exists now. I also had a vision for the TV show that I have. It's called The Certified Health Nut, which is a cross between The Crocodile Hunter and Tom Green in search of the Fountain of Youth. So I merged my on-camera personality with all my natural medicine background. Optimal health is mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And we're always working to balance those components. I think a lot in the yoga community and the raw food community, sometimes we get caught up on the physical or a little bit of the spiritual, and we think we've made it to the promised land. And the fact of the matter is the more we grow, the more we grow, the more we grow, the more we grow. So it's a never-ending experience here on earth until we're walking on water like maybe Brother Jesus did or something like that. And so so we're always reaching towards that higher elevation of consciousness. And so mentally, of course, that's dealing with the mental and emotional aspects. That's dealing with any unresolved anger that we have towards other people, unresolved childhood issues. And then, of course, the spiritual connection, I don't promote organized religion or anything, but it's really about, connecting to something that's greater than you. For me, that's been a lot of nature, especially in the Amazon. You feel the power of the rainforest. You go down there and you realize that you are not the top of the food chain. And so that really taps you into the divine, and you get to feel it at a very deep level. And of course, the meditation helps as well with that, connect you. And so on the physical side of it, we really want to look at the food chain, where we're at today. So you've got chemical surface runoff from pesticides and herbicides. You've got diesel trucks that are spewing out lead and arsenic inside their pollution. You've got whatever they're spraying out of the chemtrails, aluminum and barium. The fact of the matter is there's contamination of the air, water, and soil all over the planet. And most of us in this room probably realize that to a certain extent. But the fact of the matter is it needs to be realized at an extremely high level, because the best organic in this country, especially in Southern California, if you go up through Ventura, it's all grown on those farms in between the 101. So you're still getting the diesel fumes that are spewing into that. Some of my friends run the gardens here in Santa Monica, where they're transforming the urban gardens. And they're getting people to grow their own food. And the lead and the arsenic is very profound, as well as the earthworms, and the topsoil is just not there. So it's very utopian to think that we can just grow our own food and that would be the top of the food chain, or let me just be a raw food vegan and I'll get everything I need. And the fact of the matter is, at this point in our history, we need more than just that. And so whether it's mental, emotional, physical, and of course I highly recommend supplementation. And we're not just about the supplementation, we're about wild foods from virgin soil. So I studied with Dr. Schultz for quite a few years, and what he educated me on is wild is the top of the food chain, right? So you have wild, then you have biodynamic. Biodynamic means that the birds, the bees, the water, everything's on the land. Permaculture, And then you have organic, and like Oregon Tilth regulated organic. Then you've got USDA organic, commercial, and then GMO'd. I'm not a big believer in the Antichrist, but let's face it, genetically modified organisms are bad news for the planet and for your own DNA. And so, and the GMOs are cross-pollinating. The GMOs are in 90% of the corn. I mean, most people can garner this information from watching The Future of Food or Food Inc. It's very profound information and something that you want to definitely share with other people that may not have this knowledge, especially we all have Facebook and Twitter accounts. You get little tweets or information or websites on the GMOs, and you've got family in the Midwest or non-believers or this, that, and the other thing. Share this information. GMOs, it says in the Old Testament, never to graft the hand of God. And so I'm not a big Bible thumper, but I do believe that Scripture, all ancient Scriptures, have its important elements, very important elements. From an optimal health standpoint, all the ancients knew these 7 principles, from Pythagoras to Jesus. And Pythagoras, well, Jesus, first of all, did 40-day water fast. And to be in the Pythagoras school, you had to do a 40-day water fast and then couldn't speak for a year. And he was the only person that was allowed into the Egyptian temples. And so outside of the Egyptians. And so what they knew, the 7 principles of optimal health is clean air, water, sunshine, walking, loving relationships, passion, and whole foods. So if you're living in the concrete jungle, strike 1 and strike 2, clean air and water, right? So, and they all accumulate in your liver, kidneys, and colon. So optimal physical health is clean kidneys, colon, liver, alkalize blood, and balance out blood sugar. So when you recognize that, then supplementation is paramount to human existence in the concrete jungle right now. Herbs are to nutrition what acupuncture is to massage, right? So very targeted, specific nutrient density and phytochemistry for different components of the human body, right? God never left us hanging. We might have left him hanging a little bit, but he never left us hanging. He created our bodies, what's called autogenesis. The body automatically heals itself when and if it has the proper nutrition, right? And so going back to where the food chain is right now, depleted soil, chemical surface runoff, pesticides and herbicides, then you lay on top of it the pollution. And I'm not telling you guys this for doom and gloom. I'm telling you guys for awareness. Because at the same time that the commercial food chain is taking a nosedive and GMOs are proliferating, the superfood chain, the big garden, access to the big garden in the Amazon is available. And there's other companies out there that are good as well, not just our companies. It's just that the Amazon has the highest frequency and vibration and the highest concentrated source of life force energy on the planet. And our company has been called the answer to saving the rainforest because it empowers the indigenous tribes to stay on their ancestral lands. So it's more than just products or herbs. It's very strategic and very comprehensive. So that's clean air, water, sunshine. Sunshine, what does it say in the news? Sun, good or bad for you? Bad. Who made that up? Who made the sun, right? Creator, God. Sun bad for you? Yes or no? No. Sun's very good for you. In fact, that and air you can pretty much live off of, and that's what you actually do. You get it through plants, right? And so that's how we convert that sunlight. And actually, you can learn how to convert the sunlight yourself by sun gazing. Sunlight on your body, 70% of your body, 20 minutes a day is very helpful. As much as you can without burning your skin. I'm not advocating frying your skin. And if you're wearing sunscreen, it's toxic. And that's the #1 cause of skin cancer. That and antioxidants being missing in the food, right? Sun's not bad for you. It's not a mystery. We need protection. And the protection comes from antioxidants, which protect you from free radicals, right? Because just breathing and consuming nutrients creates free radicals, right? Creates oxidation. So you have to have the nutrients in your body to protect your cells. We don't age, our cells do. Feed the cells, right? Get foods that have the perfect biological match. Once again, look at the food chain. Wild's the top, biodynamic. High organics, USDA organic. A lot of the USDA organics, you got to keep your eye on it because they lowered the standards a few years ago to allow other farmers in, which just basically means no spraying for 3 years. Oregon tilth is 7 years. The soil has to be organic, no commercial fertilizer, and no spraying, right? And biodynamic, everything's just permaculture. The bees and the birds are on there. It's real powerful nutrients. And then wild, top of the food chain. So always source wild crafted when you can. And make sure whoever you're sourcing your products from too, that they don't irradiate, fumigate, or chemically alter anything. Because since 9/11, they have been irradiating most things coming out of the country, right? Through the ports. So how do we activate higher states of consciousness or turn on our DNA, right? Many in the New Age spiritual community, we hear we're activating the consciousness of our DNA. You know, what is the chemtrails? Are they trying to cover up the information that's coming out of the photon belt, the solar flares? I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I got a lot of questions, you know? So how do we make ourselves those photonic receptors, right? So we clean out the liver, the kidneys, the colon, the blood, and we keep it clean. Because it's not like you just clean it and it's clean, right? You ever wash your car in Los Angeles? How many people wash their car every week in Los Angeles? Right? Necessary, right? How many leave it for a month and then brush up against it? Would you eat that? That's in your liver, your kidneys, and your colon. So cleaning that on a regular and constant basis. So getting back to the clean air and water, obviously water, there's plenty of information out there on water. Daniel Vitalis has the best thing on water that I've seen, right? Spring fed, tested to make sure it doesn't have any, contaminants or too much sulfur in it, but spring fed's the highest. Then you're going to start moving down the food chain. No matter what, if you're getting a municipal supply, you definitely want to make sure that it's filtered at a very high level. And then I spin my water. I like a little structure in my water to lower the surface tension so it actually absorbs into the cells a little bit more. There's a lot of alkaline water out there right now. Alkaline water is great. The fact of the matter is there's two ways to alkalize water, chemically or electrically. Right? So you can buy a machine or you can use sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. So there's two ways you can do it. Pick your poison. If that's what you believe in. Me, I'm a big green juicer and I spin my water, which alkalizes it as well. And I drink a lot of teas with high alkalinity in it as well. And I have an alkaline diet. So water is definitely important. Walking is so incredible for the fibers in your muscles because it creates dense fibers. Just the body was made to move through time and space. Right? So if you're walking for, anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes a day, minimum 5 times a week, that is all truly the exercise that you need. That's the way the human body was designed. It's low impact and it's the exact movement. Even just, humming down the street, you're still going to get some exercise. I see a lot of the people. I'm 44 years old, and we had a son about 2 years ago, and I haven't been able to get back to the gym, and I used to like to have my body a certain way. The fact of the matter is, when I have the proper nutrition, and I have and at least some movement behind me, then my body stays the same that I was in my 20s and 30s when I was going to the gym and trying to keep, lean and mean. Nutrition's so important. So, and I like to do the barefoot walking in the park because we're actually not grounding out because of the rubber. So if you're on cement or if you're on asphalt, you're still going to ground out about 30%. When you get on the dirt, the sand, and the earth, and the grass, you can ground out completely. All the static energy from the cell phones, all the static energy from the cell phone towers, from the computers. So to ground in, plus it's really good to help balance your feet, your metatarsals out, which travels all the way up your body. So it helps with your posture. So whenever you can shed the shoes and dirty feet, a little soap and water, come right off. And so I highly recommend getting in there and just getting your walk on, just getting it on, just do it. It just works. It's so incredible for you. And I see the people in the park, they're doing these boot camps and stuff. The fact of the matter is, there's all sorts of stress that we're dealing with in our society. So you're dealing with energetic stress, you're dealing with environmental stress, you're dealing with nutritional stress. And so if you have all these stressors on your body and then you go out to exercise, and you're stressing your body out more, your body might not be able to handle that, right? So there's all sorts of new exercises on the market. There's yoga and there's breathing and there's Tai Chi. And I like looking at stuff that's been around for thousands of years, right? The Qigong masters, the Kung Fu masters, they've created the Tai Chi. Yoga's been around for a long time. I'm so lucky I live out near the beach where I can just go out to the Palisades Cliffs and I just walk out there every day. I take my son and I get my exercise. So walking is another one of the 7 principles of optimal health. Whole foods, we've kind of gone over that. Most people in this room or have come to the LA Raw Bazaar understand that eating whole foods. So I'm going to talk about wild foods a little bit more extensively and herbs and stuff like that. Those are more strategic, more strategic nutrition. But the fact of the matter is the bulk of our nutrition usually comes from macronutrients. And those macronutrients, the rice, the salad, the vegetables, the fruits, you want to be eating them in their whole form as much as possible. And if you have a juicer, I highly recommend juicing. I've been juicing for 20 years. It's a great way to alkalize your blood. If it comes in a lot of packaging and it has multiple ingredients, and especially ingredients that you can't pronounce, then get back to gravitating towards the whole foods. We want to create relationships that are also nourishing us. So optimal health, once again, it's mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Each one of those bodies in the third dimension, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, needs nutrition. And so part of your mental and emotional nutrition is, making sure that you have loving people around you, or at least a good partner where you can process your emotions and your mental thoughts that may not be positive, that you have support, and so that you can, because we're always processing. Same thing with cleaning the liver and the kidneys and the colon and stuff like that. We got to process the emotional body too. Let that stuff go. Give it up to God. Ground into the earth. Share it with your partner. Process that stuff. And then passion. What are we doing on this planet? Each one of us. What are we doing to serve mankind? How are we connecting with the higher dimensional selves of the reality, the spiritual reality of what we are doing here? Are we living on purpose? Or like Pink Floyd said in 1969, are we living in quiet desperation? Right? Driving in an hour to 2 hours of traffic on LA freeways, going to a job that we, one word I hate to use, hate, So that's what we want to do. It's like, what are we doing with our lives? Because eventually all the raw food and yoga and all this stuff doesn't do a body good if we're doing something that's not benefiting us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And you're seeing a huge transformation on this planet where people are leaving the jobs that, we're even paying well. It's just not in their heart and their soul. They don't want people telling them what to do, and they know that what they're producing is not contributing to the best of the world. I spent the last 20 years in front of the camera as a fashion model and then as an actor doing commercials and working on Discovery. Now, I don't do pharmaceuticals, I don't do agribusiness, I don't do alcohol, I don't do, I do, thank you very much. My agent, he doesn't like dealing with me very often. But the fact of the matter is I just have integrity, and when they call me up from agribusiness or Cialis or any of these other nonsense commercials that you see on TV, Viagra and stuff, I don't want to do that. First of all, I'm known as the health nut. I got herbal Viagra for you. But second of all, I don't care if it pays me $80,000 a year. I've got integrity. So that's part of my passion and my integrity that I live with every day. Because that level of integrity transforms into the world. It's really, we all want to point the finger at BP, right? How many fingers we got pointing back to ourselves? 3. right? BP and the government and this and that. You know, you got 1 up to God and 3 back to you. So we got to start looking at ourselves. Where are we voting with our dollars? Where are we purchasing? What are we doing with our time? What are we endorsing? What are we talking about? How are we sharing information with each other? So it comes down to, you know, what I feel that it means to be a man in 2010, really, and that's woman, man, mankind. It comes down to responsibility, accountability, integrity, in honesty. We're moving into a place of transparency right now. Look at the internet. If you step out of line and you're a politician, it's going to be on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. And that's where we're headed. We're headed through transparency, and also those sites are also creating you as the new brand, right? Because what you say, if you're doing X, Y, and Z, and I know that's good for the earth, and I know it's good for human beings, then when you make a suggestion for something, I'm going to listen to you. Anyone can go and get Cheetos and Coca-Cola. They know exactly where to get them. But the fact of the matter is as these green companies, as these ethical businesses start emerging more, we've got more, it's like the internet police. Everything's transparent. I just made a video on ethical business just recently, you know. I shed light on De Beers and Goldman Sachs, and this needs to be in the consciousness of man. Does everyone know that BP bought up all the Google searches? Do you know that? So they're trying to, but it's seeping through the cracks. Somebody hijacked their Twitter account. And so that got stopped really quick. It was only like a week or two. But this is the thing. These big corporations are trying to do it. They're spending $16 million a day. They're taking in $79 million a day, and they've got $20 billion in cash. Right? So that's a little bit unethical for doing a spill like that. But the internet has the ability to keep them a little bit more at a higher level. And the thing is we're all buying gasoline. Anybody want to stop the oil companies? Stop buying gasoline.
Mexico.
Use the feet. The feet work, right? Use them when you can. We live in LA, it's a huge transition, but use them when you can. We're always doing the best we can without faulting ourselves or faulting our brothers. People make mistakes. It's just time to think at a higher level and take responsibility and accountability right here for the bloodstream first, right? For the bloodstream first, the sanctity of your own blood, right? And then that transfers out into the earth. When you start clearing up the mental and emotional and the blood chemistry in here, you start thinking clearer thoughts. So you're making decisions that are more balanced for your fellow brothers and sisters, your purchases that are giving back to the earth or taking from the earth. Right? So this is really where consciousness is, right? It's not just, oh yeah, I know that blah blah, Jesus did that, and you know, the fifth dimension, and we're opening up into 2012 and blah 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 blah. No, there's some action required, right? Papa Joe said, creating a legacy for the benefit of your grandchildren's grandchildren. Creating means action. Bill Gates, when he was asked what it took to build something like Microsoft, vision, right? Anybody see the movie The Secret? The only thing missing out of that movie was the word action, right? Which was in Law of Attraction, right? And so that needs action. So vision, The Secret, you have to visualize. Then you look for the right timing. Right timing for this level of consciousness is now. You can taste it. People are waking up. Everybody feel the shifts this last couple of weeks? You wake up and the day's over. Anybody feel that last couple of weeks? Day's over. You were like supposed to do all this stuff. The time is speeding up. That's measurable by the Schumann resonance. It's going from 8 to 13. It's measurable. The magnetics on the earth are changing. And so there's massive change. It's not stopping. It's getting faster. From this day out, July, word around the campfire is a lot more energetic movement. From now through 2012. And the shift could happen from now until 2015. But the shift's happening right now. Mark my word, we're all going through it. So that's why we're all being asked. There's no mistake why you're in this room right now. We're all being asked to be more and more responsible, more and more integrous, more and more honest. And the honest comes with ourselves first, right? Because if there's something eating away at us, we haven't forgiven our mother, brother, sister. We haven't forgiven our children or told someone that they were upsetting us that we work with or whatever. That's us harboring those emotions. We have to clear that energetically, right? Because that's mental pollution that's weighing us down, emotional pollution that's weighing us down, energetics. So we're always clearing liver, kidney, colon, mental, emotional, spiritual, grounding in, connecting, however we do that. And I only got an hour, so I'm just going to go over the general, and people can hit me up on Facebook any day of the week. I give liberally to anyone who wants this information. So we talked about wild foods. I'm going to talk to some about the men's health. 1 out of 2 men have prostate cancer in our society. And so cancer's 1 in 3. There's a plant coming out of the Amazon called graviola. And graviola, if you Google it, it breaks up abnormal tissue growth. And they've done in vitro studies. It's 10,000 times more effective than chemotherapy on cells. That's in vitro. It's not in a human being body, but that's just 25% of all cancer drugs and 40% of all drugs on the market get their impetus in the rainforest. That's the power of these plants. The pharmaceutical companies have spent more research and development on these plants than any other plants on Earth. This is where our medicines are. And you want a biological match? Take the whole food. You want a side effect like erectile dysfunction or even death? Take the drugs, right? So the medicine chest is there and it's intact. And the company I've partnered with, the Amazon Herb Company, has created a whole product line delivered to your door. It's got a home-based delivery system. You want to clean your blood, you want to clean your liver, you want to clean your kidney. I take a bottle of graviola twice a year. I'm a man over 40, and I want to make sure that my blood chemistry is clean. Of course, we can't, FDA mandates that we can't treat, mitigate, or cure anything. But nutritionally, Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine and let thy medicine be thy food. And so and we go back to the American food chain. So the nutrition's basically not in the macronutrients. So you need the wild foods. And you might as well take them out of the Amazon right now because the Amazon Herb Company has been called the answer to saving the rainforest by the Cousteau Society. So simply helping your own bloodstream is giving back to the earth. It's empowering the indigenous tribes to stay on their ancestral lands. And so we don't put chemicals or irradiate or fumigate any of our products. Another plant, suma, it has a trace mineral in it called germanium, non-existent in our food chain because the minerals are depleted. It's essential for immune function and hormone function. Look it up. You can't find it in the food chain right now. It's depleted. It's in suma, which is a lateral root. It makes wild ginseng look like child's play. It's known as Brazilian ginseng. It's got 19 amino acids. In the Amazon, it's known as para todo. In Spanish, that means for everything. So it tonifies the systems. And so another one for men's health, that's men and women, because the endocrine system are our hormones. And male and female all have hormones. They're just differently balanced. More testosterone and less estrogen and progesterone in men, and the opposite for women. Muipuama, known as potency wood, once again for the endocrine system. It makes you potent. The endocrine system represents energy, rejuvenation, lean muscle mass, sexual vitality. It's where we get our power. In Chinese medicine, they call it the dantian, which is your lower energy centers, your lower chakras, your root chakras. And the funny thing is, these are roots. They're actually roots that grow in the earth for your root chakra. Isn't that wild? We've got straight graviola, and we have another plant, another formula that has more balance for the circulatory system. There's another plant called chuchuwasi to cool the adrenals. Everyone in this room is dealing with some form of stress because we live in the concrete jungle. And chuchuwasi helps to cool the adrenals, helps to relax the adrenaline, because what's happening is your pituitary gland secretes all the chemicals out of your body. So you've got your thyroid, which regulates your metabolism, your thymus for your immune system, your adrenaline for your energy, your testes, your ovaries for your vitality. And so you want to feed that endocrine system for power and clarity. And so another very important plant that's coming out of the rainforest right now is the camu berry. Not only does it have the highest concentrated source of vitamin C, and vitamin C has had three Nobel laureates, Linus Pauling and Georgi in 1937. So vitamin C is very important for the body. If you're taking ascorbic acid or ester C, most of it's being sourced from genetically modified corn. Most vitamins and minerals on the market, 85% of them are either synthetic or ineffective. Isolates, vitamins that are taken, beta-carotene for example, has 500 siblings. You want all the other carotenoids with it or it doesn't absorb into your cells. And in fact, it can do harm by blocking receptor sites. So buyer beware, we've all got money in our pockets. Source whatever you're putting in your bloodstream to the highest level. You always want whole food substances that has a perfect biological match, right? Perfect biological match is something that's created in nature. A biological match that's not created in nature, for example, genetically modified organisms. People that are obese, they're eating food that has no nutrition, so they keep eating more. The body stores a lipid structure around a GMO or some kind of molecular structure that doesn't belong in the body. It says we'll deal with this later, and that's where the obesity comes from. And people are starving, so they keep eating more. And there's no nutrition in it, and the nutrition is poisonous, toxic, noxious. It's just, that's where, it's no mystery. Cancer's not a mystery. Obesity's not a mystery. Diabetes isn't a mystery. The reality is it's the food chain and the pollution. There's chemicals in the air, water, and soil. So once again, this is not doom and gloom. This is knowledge and empowerment that we want to take forward with our other brothers and sisters. So people are looking to you for answers. People that don't know, because most people don't know. Even people in this field don't know. Responsibility, accountability, integrity, honesty. That's what it means to be a man. Authenticity, that's what the Maoris are all about. If anybody's seen the Maoris, they've got tattoos on their faces. They used to do them, actually carve them out of their faces. They're very fierce warriors. They were never conquered. They shared New Zealand with the white man. And so they're extremely powerful people, and they are all about authenticity. Letting your authenticity emerge. Who are you? God gave each one of us gifts. Incredible gifts. Every single one of you in this room has powerful gifts to give to your other brothers and sisters. Vision, timing, and then massive action. So the vision I hold is clean air, water, and soil for all of mankind, and peace on earth coming in our lifetime if you choose to live more than 7 years on this planet. It's coming. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're in this third dimension until the economy completely crashes or whatever it's going to do, is voting with our dollars, ultimately aligning yourself with making a living on purpose, aligning yourself with doing something that's contributing to the planet, and to serving others, ultimately. 2 plants and products that I recommend from the Amazon Herb Company are the Sumakazan and the Pure Camu, bare minimum, unless people need cleanse and detox, which is our Fiberzon and our tea. And we've served the tea all day. If you haven't had some, go ahead and get some. The Sumakazan is for the hormones, and the Pure Camu is for the brain, as well as the highest concentrated source of vitamin C. And think wild foods, think herbal salad, don't think supplements. They're all super bioavailable products. 5,000 years ago, the Chinese medicine is applicable, but right now, they're burning coal. I've had friends go up the Yangtze River for 3 days and say it was still polluted. That's in nature, in China. And so, my wife talks about living in Korea, the type of stuff they're doing with the melamine, they've been doing for a long time. It's their business practices. They don't have that integrity. And if it's your intuition, everyone pay attention to their intuition right now, because it's getting higher and higher, and it's the number one thing that's going to take us through the shift. The Hope and Prophecy, that's what it talks about. Paying attention to your intuition. Let go. There's a river flowing. Those who try to hold on to the sides of the river, the old paradigm, will be ripped to shreds. Let go. Sin is with you. Build community. Know where your water is. Know where your garden is. So pay attention to your intuition. It's going to be the guidepost from now on, because energy is going to speed up, and then decisions are going to need to be made instantly. Pay attention to your intuition. So that's my take on Chinese. I think if you can source a good reishi mushroom, take it. You got some good cordyceps, take it. But source it at the highest level you possibly can. The number one statement of people that take Amazonian plants is I've never felt so clear in my whole entire life. And that's like 95% of my customers. Just try them. Most people in this room, who's taking supplements? Who's got one bottle of supplements in their cabinet? Okay, everyone. Okay? If we get 1% of the supplement market, we've saved the rainforest. Figure that out. It'll put $100 million in commerce. It'll change the tide of deforestation from oil and loggers. It empowers the Indians. The Peruvian government can stop sectioning the land out. They can tax it, do whatever they want. Sustainable ag. Trees grow, leaves, they grow back. Pick them, they grow back. They grow back. The more the Indians are empowered to harvest these medicines that grow back, the quicker we change the tide of deforestation. We have the template. We haven't saved the rainforest. And the oil companies have gotten very aggressive the last couple of weeks since the spill. Because now there's a big moratorium and there's big, everyone wants to vote down oil exploration off the coast. But in the Amazon, you got Latin American governments, and you've got, third world countries, whatever. So you want to know what's happening on the world? Number 6, oil producer, Peru. Number 5, Ecuador. What happened in the Gulf has been happening in Ecuador for 30 years. Watch the movie Crude, or just look up the trailer on YouTube. Crude. It's been going on for 17 years, that lawsuit. Number 4, Venezuela. We make them into a dictator, right? Number 3, Iran. We're almost at war with them right now. Number 2, Iraq. We're in Iraq. Number 1, Saudi Arabia. We've got the biggest military bases in Saudi Arabia. This is the way of the world. It's getting off of oil. So once again, the feet come in handy when we're looking about getting off oil, being sustainable, being responsible, action. Get exercise just by moving down the street. I don't recommend food paradigms to anyone. Everyone needs to pay attention to their own intuition and figure out what's best for their own system. The fact of the matter is, I got sick as a vegan, and I also know that I see a lot of sick raw food and vegan people. Everyone has to make decisions for their own blood type. But the American Indians would make bison soup. They would make bone soup for that, or eat the marrow raw, right? Right? I mean, you want to talk about medicine? You want to talk about, what has the traditional... I just look at what traditional cultures have done, not what the new food paradigm is from last week, right? And I'm not trying to say what's right or what's wrong. I'm just trying to say what's out there. And you also want to look at your genetic structure. You try and teach an Inuit Indian to eat a raw food vegan diet, they're going to be dead. They'll probably skin you for lunch. Right? They live on seal blubber. Pay attention to your intuition. Bone and bone soup is one thing to rebuild the bones or the connective tissue. That's one component to think outside of the potential box you're living in right now. That's all I'm saying. The other thing is we have a product called Ricovazon, which has Iparuru and Tayuya, as well as Chuchuasi, which helps build the bones. And Chuchuasi they also use for rheumatism. And the Iparuru and Tayuya are known to get lactic and uric acid out of the body. We do source some Chinese herbs for that particular formula. 3 of our formulas have Chinese in it, and we source everything at the highest level. And it's an ancient Shaolin monk blend. And if anybody knows about the Shaolin monks, they were known to walk through walls, right? They trained from children, and they're kung fu masters. Meditation and kung fu. It's an ancient Shaolin monk blend for post-battle. Our pre-battle is warrior. So if you're an athlete, definitely the warrior and the Ricovazon, because actually recovery is more important than actual exercise. So try the Ricovazon. If it's right for you, look into the bone and the bone marrow. Oxtail soup is in a lot of cultures. These are the type of things I know in my wife's culture. When the baby is born, they come out and make seaweed soup and oxtail soup to replenish the bones because the baby takes it out of the nursing. Look at what these ancient traditional cultures have done. The founder of the company broke his back coming off the PCH one morning. the sun came up in his eyes, and he took a car off, and it broke his back, fractured his back. The hospital in Santa Monica said it was the fastest recovery they had ever seen.
Wow. Okay.
And we guarantee all of our products as well. So it's worth a try. As well as also, we have a power shake that feeds the endocrine system, as well as it feeds the body at the core level, 19 amino acids. All wild nutrition. Wild's top of the food chain. Remember that. Wild, 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 wild. And now you have access to the big garden, and your purchases save the rainforest. It's symbiotic with life. This company is the cutting edge of ethical business, the new paradigm of authenticity. And so if you're looking for a new business opportunity, something to be involved with, align yourself with our company. We've been around for 20 years. And like I said, we don't put chemicals in our product. We're known as the superfood kings on the planet. Biodiversity creates strength in genetic codes. The Amazon's the most biodiverse place on the planet, so you're looking at the strongest genetic codes. Plants that grow in marshy areas that need to be resistant to funguses, molds, and bacteria, that need to be resistant to insects eating them, and so insects that will eat you for lunch. And so when you put them into your body, they shift your DNA to be strength. The Amazon herbs are not about killing the bad stuff per se, although they have those components. They're about powering your body up so you are strong and clear and confident, so you can walk through anything. And so these are all foods, they're whole foods. And so, and then I get my macronutrients from the farmer's market in Santa Monica. And I get some Dr. Schultz superfoods. And I don't go to the doctor to hear the reports and get the injections and the CAT scans, which actually cause the cancer, right? You get the injections of the dyes and stuff, and then they put you in a CAT scan and they radiate you. That's what's going to harm your body. I recommend staying away from doctors, but if you need one, go ahead and get one. But for the most part, the more they tell you about your disease and how you're going to be screwed, you want to stay away from that. Fact of the matter is, Hippocrates said, and Hippocrates was an ancient wise man, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. And the Creator set forth all the things necessary for the human beings to live on this planet. And so, when you look at that, then you want to start aligning yourself with what is going to be an equal biological match for yourself. And then you start to look at the food chain in America. It's depleting, and then you're going to see that you're going to have to supplement your diet. Trace minerals, certain nutrients. The antioxidants aren't in the food chain anymore. Unless you're mainlining blueberries, raspberries, a couple times a year, but where are you going to find them in the winter when they don't grow? The great thing is as the food chain is plummeting, the superfood chain is rising.